Hello and good evening from Rwanda's capital here in Kigali, and many thanks for joining us on this Tuesday edition on RwandaTV. These are the top stories for our viewers in Rwanda and across the world. This Tuesday evening, President Paul Kagame concluded his two-day state visit to Zambia. People in the private and public sectors point out that COVID-19 pandemic proved that employers and workers need to foster the culture of using technology to secure the future of work in this technology-driven world. Rwanda Investigation Bureau has announced that in the last 3 years, it received more than 1,200 dossiers of cases that have to do with genocide ideology and related crimes. Many thanks for joining us for tonight's broadcast. I'm Ethan Tashabia. You're watching RwandaTV News live from Kigali. President Paul Kagame has concluded his two-day state visit to Zambia. On the final day of his visit, President Kagame and his Zambian counterpart Hakainde Hichilema visited Mosi Otunya and Mukuni Big Five safaris and the Kazungura one-stop border post connecting Zambia and Botswana. Sejanori has more.
On Tuesday morning in Livingston, President Hichilema and the First Lady of Zambia hosted President Paul Kagame on a tour of Zambia's finest tourist attractions, including Mosi Otunya at Victoria Falls and Mukuni Big Five safaris. President Kagame and President Hichilema and the First Lady also planted trees later in the day at the Kazungula one-stop border post and toured the Kazungula Bridge, which supports trade and transport linking Zambia and Botswana over the Zambezi River. President Hakainde Hichilema tweeted this about the event, and I quote, "Zambia is land-linked. Nothing shows this more than the Kazungula one-stop border post that connects four countries and eases the movement of goods and services across southern Africa. Planted tree at site of the bridge to symbolize friendship between Zambia and Rwanda." End of quote. On President Kagame's visit in general, he said, and I quote again, "It was our privilege to host our brother, His Excellency President Paul Kagame, for our first state visit. Signing 7 memorandums of understanding with Rwanda demonstrates our determination to revive the economy through economic cooperation and strategic partnerships. Bon voyage, mon frère." End of quote. President Paul Kagame had begun his state visit in that country on Monday.
Thank you, Serge, for that report. Now, the Rwanda Investigation Bureau has announced that in the last 3 years, it received more than 1,200 dossiers of cases to do with genocide ideologies and related crimes, the vast majority having to do with the victimization of genocide survivors. Serge Nora still with more details.
As the country prepares to mark 28 years since the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi here in Rwanda, local residents in different parts of the country have noted that any genocidal ideologies and tendencies should not be tolerated, and genocide survivors should be supported during such commemoration periods. When it becomes evident that a given area has many people with genocidal tendencies, then obviously that is a problem and will affect local development, which is why we must fight such ideologies with all our might. As we enter the commemoration period, there should be no such crimes in our local areas. During the commemoration week, we must first all support those who survived the genocide against the Tutsi. We must stand united with them. The Genocide Survivors Umbrella Organization, KWIBUKA, is also calling for the punishment of anyone who may seek to harm genocide survivors, verbally or otherwise, and such people should be tried publicly. When such ideologies become evident in different areas through incidents, they affect the harmony in society and make people very self-aware of themselves due to fear of being suspected, especially when the responsible individuals are not identified and made an example of through public prosecution. It can become a serious problem when such an approach is not taken. The Rwanda Investigation Bureau has announced that in the last 3 years, it has received 1,215 dossiers of cases to do with genocidal ideologies and related crimes, the vast majority having to do with the victimization of genocide survivors. We all know that unity is among the pillars this country is built upon. and genocidal ideologies and related crimes look to destroy that pillar of unity. That is why no one should commit or support such crimes. Certainly, it has become evident that the intensity of such crimes has been reducing with more of verbal attacks, but that too cannot be tolerated because it is meant to inflict emotional harm. Kigali city authorities have also been urging the general public not to tolerate any actions meant to harm genocide survivors in any way or undermine the progress Rwandans have made in unity and reconciliation. We all saw what recently happened at Nduba, with the KWIBUKA president there having his 2 cows hacked, though investigations are still ongoing to determine whether or not the perpetrators did that motivated by genocidal ideologies. Therefore, we ask all the residents in the city to participate in the discussions that will be organized during the commemoration period, as well as other activities in neighborhoods right up to the national level. Also, people should learn to identify others with genocidal ideologies through their words and actions. In 2019, RIB received 404 dossiers to do with genocidal ideologies and related crimes, accounting for 33.3% of all the dossiers it received that year. In 2020, there were 377, then 389 last year. During the first 3 months of this year, the Bureau received 45 such dossiers. Among such crimes last year, the most prevalent were those meant to harm genocide survivors at 55.6%, then genocidal ideologies in general at 21.1%. Genocide negation was at 7.6%, while genocide denial was at 7%. The suppression of evidence and information relating to the genocide against the Tutsi was at 4.7%, while attempts to justify the genocide were at 4.1%.
Now, to embrace the use of technology in daily work is one of the solutions that can ensure faster, effective, and efficient work and also give more productivity. People in the private and public sectors point out that the COVID-19 pandemic proved that employers and workers need to foster the culture of using technology to secure the future of work in the technology-driven world. This was reiterated on Tuesday in a work festival organized by Eagles Capacity Building Center. Olv Nete attended the event and filed this report.
Technology has so far improved the workflow and has also contributed in providing a collaborative and effective work environment. During the pandemic of COVID-19, the workforce has been disproportionately affected, depending on the level of advancement in digital technology in various places, which made people in the private and public sector to shift from the usual way of working to the new way, which is using technology to ensure the sustainability of work.
We've seen how technology has helped during the COVID-19 when we were under lockdown. We've achieved a lot by working remotely. And up to now, from the lessons learned during the COVID-19 lockdown, we can still use technology and achieve more. So it's all about changing mindset and embrace technology.
It's going very well because like in our organization, it's a tech company, so you find that things are flowing. The challenges like staff getting late to work because they can work remotely, right? And technology really helped during the COVID season because you find that you can have meeting wherever you are, meaning we save time on that, which was a good improvement.
Some of the human resource managers note that technology assisted them during the pandemic period and can also be beneficial to the future of work. During the work festival that is evaluating current gaps in the workplace as well as assessing how prepared is the workforce to cope with the current technological trends, it was noted that it is essential to invest in digital literacy to cope with the future trends in the world of technology. Dr. John Opote, the Associate Professor of International Human Resource Management, notes that it is essential and convenient for people to embrace change in their daily work, and it can be effective.
It does give result, because if you embrace change, remember this is change. People don't like change naturally, but if you embrace change and you really mean it, it will give result, and positive result. Why not? It will give results. Just embrace change. It's a new world and we can't pretend, but just do it with commitment. If you are committed as an employee, You don't need somebody to be monitoring you.
Francine Havugimana, the Chief Executive Officer of the Eagles Capacity Building Center, which provides capacity building, well-being, mental health, and knowledge-based programs, notes that the use of technology in daily work can be efficient and productive. She also points out that they have different technological tools that can be beneficial to both employers and employees.
Nka Eagles Capacity Building Center turashaka twatangiye kugenda twegera ibigo tubereka izo system zoroshye.
As Eagles Capacity Building Center, we have started approaching different institutions, showing them different systems that are easy and cheap, which assists a person to develop and also help a leader to supervise the employees. You may have 10,000 employees that are working in the same place or even in different places, and this helps you to know if someone has done his work properly, not because you're monitoring him, but because you set target and know how to follow up on targets set. And you can also set up different measurements, because tools give you correct measurements and how to take them. This eases your work, and it makes it easier for the employer as well as the employee. According to the National Strategy for Transformation by 2024, all government services will be delivered online. Rwanda has an aim of increasing the number of digitally literate citizens to 60% by 2024 from 20% currently. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Thanks, Olive, for that report. Now, Rwanda Broadcasting Agency today signed a memorandum of understanding with Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation (TBC), focusing on partnerships in content sharing, on-job training, and equipment sharing, among other things. The agreement was signed by TBC's Director General Dr. Ayub Rioba and RBA's Director General Mr. Arthur Asimwe at the RBA headquarters in Kigali. The Director General of TBC, Dr. Ayubu, states that the signing of the agreement was a major step forward in the implementation of bilateral relations between Rwanda and Tanzania.
Sisi ni ndugu, hii mipaka wameweka tu wakoloni.
Our countries are brotherly. These borders you see were established by the colonialists. And as you all know, we now belong to the same East African community. So for this reason, there are many things we partner and we will continue to work together. But I also believe that the signing of this agreement will be the beginning of the implementation of the dreams of our African ancestors who wanted us to have one voice. I often wonder why in our media we often rely on information about distant countries, yet it is us as Africans that are supposed to promote our own things, since we even have much to share outside Africa.
Kuna mambo mengi mazuri ambayo Afrika inaweza ikafundisha watu wengine huko nje.
Now, the Director General of Rwanda Broadcasting Agency, Mr. Arthur Asimwe, noted that the signing of the agreement will bring the two nations even closer and argues that the content sharing will benefit both parties.
Looking at specifically almost two critical areas. One is an area of content exchange, which is important. We exchange content between our two broadcasting institutions. Number two, I think it's in an area that I would say is sharing technology and technical expertise that we need in our day-to-day operations as broadcasters. So I'm happy that we are going into this journey together as our brothers from Tanzania, and I express commitment from our side, on the side of my leadership, to ensure that the MOU you're going to sign today will be put to good use.
Good stuff right there. Now, in other news, health authorities here in Rwanda have announced that more than 80,000 health practitioners have been trained on how to assist anyone who may encounter emotional trauma related to problems during the upcoming commemoration period of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. We have this report.
On Thursday, Rwanda will mark 28 years since the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi. And officials at the Rwanda Biomedical Center have noted that over the years, incidents of people suffering from emotional-related trauma have been on the decline because the country has put in place the necessary infrastructure to deal with this type of trauma, especially during the commemoration period, with 80,000 health practitioners having been trained countrywide. Every settlement in the country has between 3 to 4 community-based counselors, and 80% of all health centers have personnel trained in this way. All district hospitals also have 2 or 3 trained personnel on psychological health matters, and the country's major hospitals have 13 specialists combined. Genocide survivors organizations such as AVEGA, ARG, and GARG have also been working to ensure that such services are readily available for all those who need them. Since 2019, in GRG we have a program we collaborate on with RBC and other partners meant to provide trauma counseling to all Rwandans, but most especially genocide survivors, because they account for the vast majority of people who need such assistance. We have groups that have been set up for such people in 25 districts countrywide, 100 of those groups in 10 districts constantly being followed up on with the help of the Imbuto Foundation. Community-based counselors follow up on the individuals in those groups, as well as professional psychologists working as volunteers. Anyone in need of assistance can therefore get it, in collaboration with other government institutions. Genocide survivors have been urged to be strong during the commemoration period. This is a difficult time, and genocide survivors must be supported. They must also remember that they now have a good country that respects all people. Let us remember our loved ones, but let us do so in a way that allows us to remain strong and not allow ourselves to be overwhelmed with depression. Let us assist any that may be weak, be it physically or emotionally, so that the next 3 months do not become a time to make people feel worse, but instead a time to remember our loved ones, becoming stronger and helping this country in the direction leading to a bright future. Last year, more than 2,600 cases of trauma were identified, with 39% assisted to completely recover and 61% in groups and being followed up on.
That's all we had for you from me and the entire news production team. Many thanks for your company tonight. Stay safe. I'm Ethan Tashabia. Bye for now.